Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is the 7 o'clock show at 10 o'clock that's actually going to work as we talk about Jadon Sancho and the big plan that Erik ten Hag has got. We're also going to talk about Manchester United missing out on Gusto and a new development around Anthony Elanga and what may well be happening with him as a new European club enters the race to sign him on loan. But Manchester United may well be not allowing that to happen. Don't worry, the 7 o'clock show is still up if you want 5 minutes of me stressing out because I didn't know what was going on with the stream. But this is going to be the proper show. And can I just say as well, we have got a second date in Dublin. I know the Dublin tickets went in an hour this morning for United Stand on tour. We've got another date out. Over 50% of them have gone already. So if you want to be going to Dublin for the United Stand tour, tickets are going really, really fast. Links in the live chat and it's in the video description. They're also going very quickly for Manchester. London's a bit of a bigger venue. So, but, you know, they will be gone very, very quickly. Really excited for those, really excited. International break in March. Love to see you there. Let's get on with the show though. So Jadon Sancho, we're going to talk about that. Also want to say that there was a tweet that came out on the United Stand tonight that's actually a bit of an old tweet saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is expected to buy Manchester United for £4 billion from a French source. Now, obviously, Sir Jim Ratcliffe owns Nice, so people are getting quite excited. I think a bit of clarity about that is needed as well as to why that is quite inaccurate information in a sense. It doesn't mean that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's not going to buy Man United for £4 billion, but I think it gets people excited about something that's probably not going to happen in the way that's been reported. We're still going to win the league, says Dane Miassi. Right. Let's go. Thanks to everyone who's tuning in. Yes, so Jadon Sancho. I was going to talk about this earlier, Ten Hag's big Sancho plan. I think some people are already starting to think, and even I did it a couple of days ago, how does Sancho fit in and Anthony fit in? Because Ten Hag spent €85 million on Anthony and Sancho, £75 million by Solskjaer. Rashford's one of the best left-sided attackers in the world at the moment, arguably. You've got Garnacho coming through, looks really, really good. How does this work? How does Jadon Sancho have a future at Manchester United without Anthony flopping? And surely, after 6 months of looking at both of them, Ten Hag's going to have to make a big decision. And I think we've got to be very, very careful about this. And I think it's old school mentality that we all have had, where people sort of do it with Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. I prefer Wan-Bissaka, I prefer Dalot. I like what we've got at left back. I like Malacia and I like Luke Shaw, and it doesn't really matter to me who's playing, even though Shaw's the better left back at the moment. That could change. It's called having a squad. I think Ten Hag's plan with Jadon Sancho is to give him every opportunity to succeed at this football club. Patience, development, training, advice. And if Sancho takes on all those things and proves himself to be a consistent Manchester United player, I don't think Ten Hag's going to go, you're really good, but I can sell you because I've got Anthony. I think the plan for Jadon Sancho is different to what, maybe some journalists, ex-players, some fans will try and speak about. I don't think this is about Anthony or Sancho. And I'm sure that those conversations will happen. I think this is about a manager that, like Arteta, is a disciple of Pep. Ten Hag managed as the reserve team coach for Bayern Munich under Pep Guardiola. And I think Pep Guardiola is a massive influence on Ten Hag. Sir Alex Ferguson used to be a big influence on a lot of managers. Pep is now that. And I think what Ten Hag wants is what Pep Guardiola wants. And I think this is the plan for Jadon Sancho. You've got Grealish, who played tonight, on the left. You've got Mahrez on the right. Bernardo Silva and Foden didn't start. When they play Arsenal in the league in a couple of weeks' time, maybe Bernardo Silva and Foden start. Who is the first choice wide players for Pep Guardiola? He's got 4 that he can trust that are part of his first team squad. I think that's what Ten Hag wants. I think he wants to have a situation where nobody knows what his best wingers are. I mean, maybe Rashford is his best winger, to be honest, but Rashford, Garnacho, Sancho, Anthony, 4 wide players that he can mix and match whenever he wants. And then if he gets an injury, he's got depth. I think this is the new Man United in a way, but I think it's a replication of what Pep Guardiola's done. And I don't think we're going to copy everything Pep's done. I don't think Ten Hag wants to play the same way Pep plays, but I think there are and is this desire, as there has to be in the modern game if you want to be successful, to build squad depth and carry good players. 2 good left backs, 2 good right backs, 4 good centre backs, 6 good midfielders, 4 good wingers, 2 or 3 strikers. I think that's what Ten Hag wants to get to, because the way he wants us to play, is intense, and success means more games. So you need that sort of thing. So I think in some ways it's worth sort of signposting that, because I think we do have this tendency to sort of go, well, it's either this or it's either that. You know, if Sancho was good but Antony was better, I think some people almost think, well, let's sell Sancho and cash in. Why? It's far better for us as a football club and a fan base and Ten Hag, if you can keep Sancho happy, to keep him at the club and have him there as an option. And I think that's the big plan. I really do think Ten Hag wants to be able to carry two good players in each position. And I think that's what his end game will be with Sancho, not to sell him if it doesn't work out. What happened to the previous Sancho video? By the way, Arsenal are shite, says Nihal. Yeah, there was a problem with the laptop. And I fixed it because I've just been doing a watch-along. So, yeah, that's what I was going to say about Jadon Sancho. The next thing I want to talk about is Gusto signing for Chelsea. So Gusto's signed for Chelsea. Malo Gusto, Lyon right back. He was my number one choice when I did the top 5 right backs about a month ago. He remains my number one choice. I think that he was always going to leave Lyon for about 25 million quid. He's going to join Chelsea in the summer. It's another bit of fantastic January transfer business by a rival. Remember, Ten Hag wanted Gakpo, he went to Liverpool. He wanted João Felix, he went to Chelsea. I don't know whether he wanted Gusto, but he's gone to Chelsea. Good business is being done by big rivals, and we are sat there, you know, doing nothing. We know that. Gusto is perfect for Manchester United. We didn't need a Dumfries. I thought that's what Chelsea were going to do, and maybe Potter in his developmental mind has gone, I'd rather go for the younger one, because I thought they were going to go for Dumfries, and it was expected they would go for Dumfries because Reece James is injured a lot and Dumfries is more experienced, but he was also more expensive. What they've actually gone for is what we needed to go for. We wanted a right back that is a young development right back with plenty of potential, who would come into the club and be happy to be the understudy to Delot for a couple of years. And that's why Gusto really was my number one choice. He's now Chelsea's player. So I think it's a good signing. And it's another example of we can't do anything about it. You know, we're loaning Burnley strikers like Wout Weghorst when Arsenal and Chelsea and other clubs are spending tens of millions of pounds. We can't do anything about it. We could go for Frimpong Red, you're right. We can't do anything about it, but it's another example of why we need this change at the top very, very quickly. Because when you're blunt about it, rivals are spending money for now, for the rest of this season, but more importantly for next season. And we aren't. We are basically losing ground on our rivals in relation to squad builds. Our place in the league is good, but we haven't got the squad. Other squads are building for the future. They're making changes for next season already. They're improving their current position, but they're looking long term. We are standing still until we get the owners in. And I don't think people think of it like that. Some people almost defend the fact that we're not doing business in January, but we're standing still. And it might not hurt us this season, it might hurt us this season, but it could hurt us next season because we're standing still. Our rivals will still do business in the summer, but they're doing it in January. We're standing still. And this is why we need this new ownership in quick, because if we don't get the new ownership until May, June, then our rivals will have started buying in May and June, and we'll be still having a chat with the new owners. Do you think in the summer striker would come to United, to Spartacus? I do think we'll get a striker in the summer. Which leads me just nicely to talk about this article in the French outlet Foot Mercato. They're basically saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is expected to buy Manchester United for £4 billion. Now, I think our fan base is far more intelligent than to get overly excited about that. I think if that story comes out in mid-August, you know, we're having a meltdown. But we know we're for sale, and we know Sir Jim Ratcliffe's interested. And we also know that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is not buying Manchester United for £4 billion because Manchester United are going through a sale process through the Rain Group where bids are going to go in next month. And those bids are going to be more than £4 billion. And while Sir Jim Ratcliffe will put a bid in, he's not going to buy the club for £4 billion because some 2 or 3 outlets are going to offer more than that. So it's an odd story. It may end up being right because Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to buy Manchester United, but it's not right now because that's not the process of this sale. The Glazers would not accept £4 billion now. There is a process. There is a bidding process which hasn't even started yet. So for a journalist or outlet to be saying that Man United are being sold to Sir Jim Ratcliffe for £4 billion, it doesn't fit in with the process that United are going through. So it's a bit of a weird story. The defender from Inter, says Spartacus. And what What we're talking about, Skriniar? What, Mark? What would have stopped? What would have? I don't know what you're talking about Skriniar. Mark, what would have stopped the club's executives from using the summer budget to get players signed now to join in the summer, Sir Stephen? Well, what summer budget? We'll have different owners. Oh, do you think in the summer Skriniar would come to United, to Spartacus? Sorry, I didn't read that correctly. I don't know that Ten Hag would want Skriniar. I don't think he's mobile enough, to be honest with you. I don't think so. I'm not so sure about that. But yeah, it's been a long evening, Nitash. Yes, it has. No, I don't know. I don't think Skriniar is the sort of centre back that Ten Hag would go for. I think Kim Min-jae at Napoli, Timber at Ajax. I think that Badiashile at Monaco. I know he's at Chelsea now, but I think he's the sort of player that he might have gone for as well. I don't think Skriniar. I mean, Skriniar's like Milinkovic-Savic. These are players we were looking at 4 or 5 years ago under Mourinho. I don't think Skriniar's the type of centre back he'd go for. Pedge says he's devastated by Gusto going to Chelsea, but this is the ownership model we need. Chelsea are going out getting players that we would like to get. Respect it. That's football. Clubs are ambitious and aggressive in what they want to go and do. Well done. United at the moment are just standing still. We need to move quick. And you know what, as well? I'm not going to get angry or frustrated on a Friday night. It's the weekend. But we're standing still while other clubs are buying players. Think on this. Manchester United are having the best season we've had in years. We're sitting down while everyone's standing up and buying good talent. Why are we sitting down? Because the Glazers are taking their time so as many people as possible can come in and bid for the club and they can make more money. Think on that. The reason we're not buying players in January is because the owners of our football club have abandoned this football club and are spending their time, weeks and months, trying to sell the club, trying to get as many people to bid as possible. If they gave a shit about this football club, they wouldn't get the Rain Group involved. They would sell it to Sir Jim Radcliffe for $4 billion and we'd have new owners in now. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm right. This is just about the Glazers making as much money as they can, getting as many bidders in as they can, and taking as long as they need. This club is at a standstill. It's got the handbrake on. We've got no money to spend in January because they won't release any because they're selling the club. They could have said in the summer, when Sir Jim Radcliffe expressed an interest, $4 billion's a good price, we'll take it. You're the new owner. We could have had Sir Jim Radcliffe in now. Now, I'm not saying he's the right owner or not, but we are at a standstill, and we are at a standstill for one reason. The Glazers are taking all this time, allowing all these people to get their funds together to put a bid in. And it doesn't benefit the football club at all. Is Sir Jim the only person on the record as being in for United? Everyone else playing the cards close to their chest, it seems, says Rory. I think he's the only one that's been widely reported, but everyone knows that there are other people involved. Welcome to the Members Club Slats. Mark, do you think there's a slow decline to City? If so, do you think there is a passing of the guard from Pep to Eric and Arteta, says MMA Takedown? I hope there is. But it might be a little bit early for that. The final thing I wanted to say is that Alanga has been linked to PSV. We know that Dortmund want Alanga, and we're now hearing that PSV want Alanga. Sky Sports in the UK was saying tonight that Manchester United do not want to loan Pellistri, and Alanga falls into that category because they're not getting offers from clubs that they think will develop him. Pellestri's definitely got to stay. I don't see why we'd keep Alanga. And I'll tell you what, I'll say this right now. If Pellestri's staying and Alanga's staying, we may not get anybody else in on loan because we don't need Garnacho, Pellistri, Alanga, Sancho, Anthony, Rashford, Martial, Weghorst. There's 8 attacking options there. But it's camouflage because really there's Weghorst, a Burnley loanee, Sancho, who's coming back from 3 months out, Martial, who's always injured, Rashford, who's our main outlet, Anthony, who's still settling in, and then 3 kids. 8 options, but you're camouflaging yourself with numbers and with capability and readiness. We do need to bring somebody in, but if we're keeping Alanga, maybe that's a sign that we're not. We'll have to wait and see over the next few days. Tuesday, of course. Silkfish says, I think Schlotterbeck can be a good signing. Thank you very much for that. Bowley must watch the show, says Adam. Stop previewing good targets for us and throw a few duds his way. Maybe hype up Phil Jones. I said that on the watch-along tonight on That's Football. It's amazing the amount of players we've spoken about on this channel over the last 3 years who are now at Chelsea and Kunku. And they're not like obvious ones. It's not like Mbappe and De Bruyne. You know, Badiashile was a Monaco left-sided centre-back that no one really spoke about. We've been talking about him for years. Gusto, we've been talking about him for the last year or so, a Lyon right-back. And Nkunku, we were talking about him about 18 months ago because Rangnick had the Leipzig connection. Mudryk, to be honest, I don't know nothing about him. João Felix is a bit honest, but I'm only joking. But it is frustrating. It's a bit like when Liverpool bought Fabinho, and we've been talking about him for 2 years. It's just, you know, they're not watching the United stand. It's just better scouting because the modern football fan knows the modern game and knows more than the Premier League. So we will talk about players like scouts, but obviously Chelsea and other clubs have got better scouts than we have because they've got and better decision makers because we're aware of these players and they go and get them. Mark, do you think Eric Ten Hag rates Mainu more than Iqbal? Says Dan. I don't know. I just think he feels that Mainu's more ready than Iqbal at the moment. I think Ten Hag's been quite open about that with young players, that he will only put them in the team if he feels that they're ready, and that's clearly the case. Anyway, look, I'm not going to go on all night. I felt guilty about the 7 o'clock show not happening. I wanted to do the 7 o'clock show and get it all out, and I have. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please smash a like on the video. I'll be back in the morning at 10 o'clock with the morning show, of course. Take care, everyone. Have a great evening. I'm glad I could come back and do it, so please smash a like on the video. And don't forget, in the video description and in the live chat, United Stand on tour. I cannot wait for these shows. Dublin show 1 is sold out already. Dublin show 2 is selling quick. Manchester has not got many left. London as well. I don't know where we are with the London one because it's a bigger venue, so there might be still a few tickets left for London, but get involved. March, international break. They're 3 really good locations if you want to come and visit anyway, if you don't live around that area. Really would be great to see you, so get those tickets. They're in the live chat and they're in the video description. When they're gone, they're gone, and it'd be great to see you. They're going to be really, really, really good shows, and I think we'll have a great evening at all of them. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. I'll speak to you in the morning.